Jai Shri Mataji. Srimad Devi Bhagavat. If you want to know who Adi Shakti is, read Devi Bhagavat, said by Her Holiness Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi. Introduction. The greatness of Devi Bhagavat. Vedavyas was an Ansh avatar, that is, partial incarnation of Shri Vishnu, and was born to Parasar and Satyavati. He divided the Vedas into 4 parts and taught it to his Shishyas, that is, disciples. But he knew the common man would not be able to understand it, and this troubled him. So, he wrote in simple language the 18 Puranas. He also wrote the Mahabharata. And last of all, he wrote the book which gives divine knowledge as well as mukti, the Srimad Devi Bhagavat. In all past yugas, there were various dharmas, but for Kali Yuga, worship of Adi Shakti is the only means of salvation. Bhagavan Vyas has written this book as a Purana, explaining all the ways in which we can obtain and absorb the nectar flowing from the lotus feet of the Devi. Whoever listens with devotion and attention to Devi Bhagavat will always have Siddhi in his vicinity. The first person to benefit was Raja Parikshit, who was bitten by the snake Takshak. His son Janmejaya went to Vedvyas and listened first hand to Devi Bhagavat in 9 days from Vedvyasa's own Vani, voice. Thus, he earned for his father a place at Devi Bhagavati's lotus feet and arrived there as a Deva. There are no strict rules of months or days, but if we listen to this Devi Bhagavat during Navratri, we get the benefit of Navaha Yagya. This is available even to sinners, fools, traitors, disbelievers, and Nastics, and those who did not get fruits from their various sacrifices and rituals. In other words, Devi Bhagavat is the ultimate Purana. It should be treated with utmost respect and always given a special seat in the house. When Sri Krishna went in search of Prasen and did not return for a long time, his father Vasudev listened to Devi Bhagavat and got his beloved son back. Whichever house installs Devi Bhagavat with due respect and honor, that house becomes like a Tirth Sthan, holy shrine, and evil forces cannot survive near it. The assembly of rishis thus spoke to Sudji, the narrator. Sudji, you are very wise. You received your education from Sri Vedavyas. May you live long. We have already listened with great bhakti to your gracious voice. Now we desire to hear that which is most sacred of all, the Devi Puran. Sudji replied, You are very blessed that you have asked for something which will be beneficial to the whole world. The rishis asked, Please tell us how Vasudev was blessed with a son. Also, the story of the Syamantaka gem and how Vasudev got help by listening to Srimad Devi Bhagavat. Sudji thus narrated, Satyajit, a king of the Bhojvanshi clan, lived in Dwaraka. He worshipped the sun god and was given as a gift of appreciation the Syamantaka gem. When he wore this and came to Dwaraka, everyone thought it was the sun god himself. But Sri Krishna explained that it was the gem which shone. One day, the king's brother, Prasen, wore the gem and went hunting. A lion killed him and took away the gem. Just then, a warrior king, Jambavan, saw the gem. He killed the lion and took the gem away. He gave it to his son to play. When Prasen did not return, the king began to wonder where he was and whether someone had harmed him for the sake of the gem. Suddenly, rumor started in Dwaraka that Sri Krishna had been attracted to the gem and must have killed Prasen for it. Hearing this false accusation, Sri Krishna went to the forest himself to look for it. He found Jambavan and engaged him in war for 27 days. When the news of Sri Krishna's disappearance into Jambavan's den reached Vasudev, he sank into deep sorrow. At this stage, Sri Narad appeared and after hearing the cause of the sorrow, advised Vasudev to do Aradhana, worship of Ambika Devi. Vasudev asked him, Dev Rishi, who is Devi Ambika? What is her description and how does one do Aradhana? Please tell me. Narad said, Who can adequately describe the great Devi? I will endeavour to give a concise description. Bhagavati Ambika is eternal. She is the embodiment of Sat, Chit, Anand, that is, truth, consciousness, bliss. She is primordial. She is above all. She is the cause of this living universe. It is only with her permission and blessings that Brahmadeva is able to carry out creation. It was after performing stutis to the Devi that Brahma overcame his fear of Madhu and Kaitaba. It is only by her grace that Sri Vishnu preserves the creation. Also, it was only after her benevolent glance fell on Rudra that he got the powers of dissolution. It is she who covers the universe with illusion, and it is only she who grants mukti, moksha pradayini. She is the embodiment of supreme knowledge, Nirmal Vidya. She presides over the brave and the strong, Veera Mata, and the competent who can lead the battle against negative forces. You must perform Navratra Puja, and in 9 days you must listen to Devi Bhagavat. On completion, your son will return. Those who read or listen to Devi Bhagavat get the blessings of worldly enjoyment with detachment and liberation. Then Vasudev remembered the same advice that was given to him when Kamsa had imprisoned him and his wife Devaki and had killed 6 of their sons. He told Narad, I saw that Devaki had reached the end of her endurance, so I called Muni Garg to the prison and asked him to advise a way to save the life of the 7th child. He praised Sri Bhagavati Durga, who grants protection to devotees who seek her help, and advised the reading of Devi Bhagavat. At this, both Devaki and I sank into despair. We were prisoners and had no access to such a ritual. So we pleaded with Muni Garg to perform it on our behalf. He graciously agreed and, taking some Brahmins with him, proceeded to the Vindhya mountains. There, they made necessary preparations and started chanting and reading the praises of Devi Jagadamba. On completion, there was a voice from heaven, Akashavani. Munis, I am Prasanna. Your prayer will be granted. To remove the oppression of the world, I have commanded Sri Vishnu to incarnate as a child in Devaki's womb. As soon as the child is born, Vasudev should carry it to Nandaji in Gokul. He will bring back Yashoda's girl child and give it to Kamsa. Kamsa will throw her to the ground to kill her, but she will slip out of his hands and assume a divine form of Vishnu Maya and live in the Vindhya mountains for the benefit of humanity. Muni Garg offered obeisance to the Devi and humbly thanked her. Then Vasudev thanked Narad for his advice and pleaded with him to do the great honor of himself reading Devi Bhagavat for him. Sage Narad graciously agreed and at an auspicious time and day started the reading. Lots of Brahmins also arrived to participate. All this while the war was still going on between Jambavan and Sri Krishna. Jambavan was wounded, and realizing that he was fighting none other than Sri Krishna, he prostrated before him and begged forgiveness. He then gave the gem to Sri Krishna and also gave his daughter Jambavati in marriage to the Lord. Sri Krishna returned to Dwaraka just as the reading of Devi Bhagavat concluded. Vasudev and all the congregated people of Dwaraka were overjoyed. The Brahmins were given the traditional farewell of food and gifts and were pleased. Sage Narad took leave and left for Brahmalok. Whoever reads this with clean attention and Nirmal Bhakti will be blessed with fulfillment and peace. Then Sudji said, O Munis, now listen to another story where the reading of Devi Bhagavat granted a prayer. Once, sage Agastya and his wife Lopamudra went to Kartikeya and requested him, O slayer of Tarakasura, please narrate to us those incidents where the glories of the Mother of the Universe, the eternal Bhagavati Devi, have been sung in the form of Devi Bhagavat. Sri Kartikeya said, Who can ever justly or completely describe the eternal Devi whose nature is generosity, upon whose meditation one gets Satchit Anand, and who resides in the form of Jagadamba in the Devi Bhagavat, and who gives auspiciousness even to the elements of the place where it is read or heard. Shraddhadev was the son of Vivaswan. He had no children, and so he performed a Putroshti Yagya presided over by sage Agastya. The wife of Shraddhadev requested the Brahmin, To arrange that, she should bear a girl child. When the girl was born, the father questioned sage Agastya as to why Yagya produced a girl instead of a boy. In meditation, sage Agastya came to know the truth and he did penance to Sri Vishnu and got the boon which changed the girl Ila into a boy Sudyumna. When he grew into a youth, he mounted a horse and went to hunt in the forest. He strayed into an area which had been cursed by Sri Shiva, that any male who entered would become a female. Instantly, Sudyumna and all his entourage became women, and even his horse became a mare. Now, this girl wandered near the ashram of sage Buddh and he married her. She stayed in his ashram and they had a son, Pururav. One day, the memory of being the boy Sudyumna revived, and this girl became sad. She went to the ashram of Guru Vasisht and told him her story, and expressed the desire to become Sudyumna again. Guru Vasisht went to Kailash and began penance. Praising Sri Shiva, Guru Vasisht said, O Devadidev, bestower of blessings and auspiciousness, having matted hair and the moon for his crest jewel, obeisance to you again and again. O well-wisher of the universe, who resides on Mount Kailash, Namastasye, Namastasye. O field of forgiveness, God with a blue throat, who grants boons and is the support of all living beings, accept my pranams. Hearing these praises, Sri Shiva appeared before the Guru, seated on the sacred bull Nandi. Also seated was Sri Parvati. Their countenance was as bright as 1,000 suns and as white as the snow-clad mountain. He had 3 eyes and the crescent moon on his hair. He was pleased and told Guru Vasisht to ask for a boon. When he requested the Lord to restore Ila to the male form of Sudyumna, the Lord said, he will be a male for 1 month and a female for 1 month, and so on. Guru Vasisht paid obeisance to Jagat Janani Bhagavati Parvati, whose darshan seldom goes unrewarded. Her face has the radiance of 1,000 moons and she is ever smiling. To obtain the boon of permanent manhood for Ila, he began singing the praises of the Divine Mother. O Mother, who has benevolence for her bhaktas, praise be to you. You who are attributeless and beyond the gunas, praise be to you. Protector of those who surrender to you, praise be to you again and again. Barambar. Remover of sorrow and destroyer of negative forces, Sri Durga, praise be to you. You who give darshan to your devotees, O Mahamaya, worship of your lotus feet takes one across the ocean of illusion. You who grant bliss, moksha and liberation, be pleased. Who can adequately describe you? I am only bowing to you in worship. Sri Durga is also Narayani and she was instantly pleased. The all-knowing and wish-fulfilling goddess spoke thus to Guru Vasisht. Go to Sudyumna's house and worship me with dedication and devotion. You read to him the Devi Bhagavat in 9 days. That Purana is very dear to me. As soon as the reading is complete, he will get the boon of becoming a male permanently. Then Sri Shiva and Sri Parvati withdrew from his sight. After paying homage, Guru Vasisht returned to his ashram. He called Ila and narrated the events. Then he made the necessary preparations and started the reading of Srimad Devi Bhagavat with great Shraddha, faith and reverence. On the 9th day, Ila became Sudyumna and Guru Vasisht performed Abhishek, ceremonial bath before coronation, and installed him as a king. Story of Revati. Even after hearing so many narrations, sage Agastya requested Sri Kartikeya to continue. Skanda said, Listen, O son of Mitravarun, that which has one part describing the great Devi, which devotes the second part to the knowledge of dharmas, Nirmal Vidya, and which imparts the meaning and significance of Gayatri. This is called Devi Bhagavat. There was a Muni called Ritvak who was possessed of Vidya or knowledge. He did the Putrotsav on appointed days, sacrifice performed for obtaining a son. He begot a son in the 4th quarter of Revati. He performed all the prescribed ceremonies like naming, thread and initiation. But since the birth of the child, there was always illness and sorrow in the household. Everyone was overcome with anger and desire, and the mother was always ill. The boy became disobedient, and the father became despondent and wondered why the boy had become so bad. He had even snatched away the wife of a Muni. In great disillusionment, Ritwak exclaimed, "It is better to be childless than to have a child who is disobedient and whose sinful acts push his ancestors out of heaven into the hell. He only brings sorrow to his parents. He has neither friends nor is he any use to his enemies. Only such parents are fortunate whose sons help others and make their parents happy. A weak son destroys the family, is inauspicious in the world, and in the end goes to hell." He became very sad and went to Gargji and said, "Sir, you are a learned Jyotish. Can you tell me the reason for begetting a son like this? I have always respected my Guru and have acquired knowledge of the Vedas. I practiced celibacy till I married at a proper age, and I have lived within the maryadas of a grahasti, codes of conduct for a householder. I have always shunned wrongdoing and evil desires. I only wanted a son, and so I performed the necessary yajna for that. Is it due to some sin of the mother or father that we have been given this kind of son who has destroyed our peace and happiness?" Sage Garg meditated on this matter and spoke. "Muni, the fault is neither yours nor that of your wife. It is the inauspicious timing of his birth, the fourth quarter of Revati, which is called Gundant, which is causing him to behave like this. You must worship Jagat Janani Bhagavati Durga, and when she is pleased, she will put an end to your sorrows." Hearing this, Ritwak Muni became furious and cursed the star Revati. At that moment, she fell from the cosmos onto the Kumudgiri mountain and enhanced its beauty. It is now called Revtak. Skand continued, "With the falling of the radiance of Revati on the mountain, a girl child was produced who had the beauty and brilliance of Sri Lakshmi. This child came to the notice of Rishi Pramoch. He took her to his ashram in Kumudgiri, named her Revati, and began to raise her. When she grew into maidenhood, he began to look for a suitable husband for her. When he could not find anyone, he went to the temple of Agni and prayed. Agni Devata was pleased and spoke thus: The bridegroom who is well versed in dharmas, brave, courteous, and handsome is a king called Durdam. At that time, Raja Durdam had come to the forest near the ashram. He was wise, strong, and brave. He entered the ashram and saw only Revati. Addressing her as Priye, he inquired where the Rishi was. Hearing that the Rishi was in the Agnishala, he went there and with bowed head and folded hands, he greeted the Rishi. The Rishi immediately offered him Arghya and addressed him as son-in-law. To this, Raja Durdam asked which wife of his was in the sage's ashram, as he was already married and his wives were in his palace. The Rishi replied that Revati was the girl whom the king had addressed as Priye. The king asked the Rishi to forgive him, and he had no bad intentions when addressing the girl as Priye. The Rishi narrated how Agni Devata had named him as the prescribed husband for Revati and that no one could prevent this. Therefore, the Rishi began making preparations for giving the girl in marriage to the king. The girl came to her foster father and requested that the marriage be performed under the star Revati. He replied that there were so many auspicious stars for marriage and that Revati's star was no longer a nakshatram, constellation. The girl insisted, saying that only under this star would her marriage be auspicious. Then her father told her how Rishi Ritwak had cursed Revati to fall out of the cosmos. The girl asked her father, "Is it only Ritwak who can have powers? I know your capacity and you can surely reinstate Revati." So Rishi Pramoch did penance and meditation and restored Revati Nakshatram. The marriage was performed and the king left for his kingdom with Revati. He ruled as a just and benevolent king. Once a great Mahatma, Lomashji, visited his Raj Bhavan. Durdam requested him to read the Devi Bhagavat for him as he wished for the divine gift of a son. The Mahatma said, "O king, you are blessed. That is why a desire has awakened within you to hear Devi Bhagavat." At the auspicious hour, the reading started in the presence of the king and his wife. Havan was performed and little girls were given food and clothes. After some months, on an auspicious convergence of stars, the queen gave birth to a son whom they called Revat. Water kept in golden pots was poured on him during his naming ceremony. As he grew, he was initiated into the Vedas and he became a learned, benevolent, compassionate, and competent ruler. After this, sage Agastya prostrated before Sri Kartikeya and left for his ashram. Then the rishi said, "Most fortunate of souls, Sudji, please do us the great favor of telling us the correct procedure for obeisance to Devi Bhagavat. How to gain the benefits and the Varnan, explanatory description." Sudji said, "First of all, a Jyotish should be consulted for the auspicious time for starting this great reading. The month of Jyesht, third month, and the 6 months that follow are auspicious. The stars, Hast, Ashwini, Mool, Pushya, Rohini, Shravan, and Mrigashira are favorable. If the reading is started on these days, they grant boons. Whichever star has Brihaspati in it, count up to the full moon. The count up to the 4 grants dharmas. The next 4 gives Lakshmi. The next one gives Siddhi of narration. Following 5 gives happiness. The next 6 give progeny. Then the next 4 give rulership. And the last 3 give pure knowledge or Nirmal Vidya. When reading Devi Bhagavat, one should put attention on this chakra. These are the instructions of Lord Shiva. To please the Devi, one should do this reading for 4 Navaratras. Apart from this, it can be read in other months also, but attention should be paid to auspicious time, star, and day. An intelligent man should understand that just as elaborate arrangements are made for marriages, so also correct arrangements should be made before the reading starts. Learned men who are devoid of lust and greed should be present, and 4 devotees of Sri Jagadamba should sit with the main reader as help. Announcements should be made in all directions that Srimad Devi Bhagavat Katha is going to be read and all are cordially invited. Followers of all religions are welcome because all gods worship Bhagavati Adya Shakti. The reading is nectar giving. All those who have divine love in their hearts should come and partake as it is their birthright. Even if one cannot attend all 9 days, they should come for as long as possible. The invitation should be given with utmost humility and arrangements should be made for receiving the guests in a collective way. The place should be swept clean and the stage prepared and decorated. The earth should be smeared with cow dung and smoothed down. Erect a mandap and place banana plants on the sides. Silver paper decorations, streamers, and flags should be tied. Place an asan for the reader to sit on and cover it with a silk cloth. The reader should sit facing the east and north. Carpet should be placed for the guests. It is desirable that the reader should be dharmic persons who can give discourses in a convincing manner, who have discretion of right and wrong, who have conquered their senses, who are knowledgeable, who are satisfied, and who worship the Devi. The congregation should be persons who have desire for pure knowledge, should be devotees, and should know how to receive and absorb the divine nectar. Also, they should be humble. It is not for people who are antisocial, greedy, full of lust, gossip mongers, or those who have hatred in their hearts. On the first day, the readers as well as the listeners should prepare themselves by waking before sunrise, finish their morning ablutions, sit in meditation, and eat frugally. The beautiful book is an image of the Devi herself. It should be worshipped with all ingredients used for a puja: kumkum, perfume, flowers, lamp, incense, etc. To remove all obstacles, 5 Brahmins should chant Durga Saptashati. After Pradakshina and Namaskar, the Devi should be praised thus: Katyayani, you are Mahamaya and the support of the universe. Bhavani, your form is beneficent. I am sinking in the ocean of illusion. Please save me. O Jagadambike, you are worshipped by Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Be pleased with me. I worship you and offer Namaskar. After this, get into meditative state to listen with attention to the reader as if he were Vedavyas himself. Pray to Vedavyas to remove our darkness like the moon gives light to the sky. All this should be done for all 9 days. The Brahmins should be respectfully given their food and other requirements first, and then only the rest should eat. Attention should be detached from home, wife, children. The reading should be from sunrise to sunset with a break of 2 hours for afternoon rest. Food and liquids should be taken sparingly so that one does not have to go for nature's calls in between. The reader should eat only once and preferably take fruit and milk. Now regarding the congregation, those who differentiate between Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar need not come, nor those who have no bhakti for Jagadambika. Also, cheats, violent people, enemies of Brahmins, atheists and Nastics have no place here. Those who steal from Brahmins, those who covet other people's wives, and those who misappropriate God's money have no right to sit at such a gathering. Those who come should abstain from lust and greed, be brahmachari, sleep on the floor, speak the truth, have control over their senses, and eat food from banana leaves. They should not eat brinjal, oil, dal, honey, burnt or stale food. No meat, masoor, radish, asafoetida, onion, garlic, carrots, greens with tubular stems. They should not associate with bad charactered people, enemies of Brahmins, atheists, inauspicious people, lawbreakers, and troublemakers. They must not listen to criticism or gossip. They should always keep calm, quiet, in balance, speak less, and be generous. People with skin diseases, sinners, those struck down by misfortune and bad luck, childless women, or women whose children have died, all these can also come and sit for Devi Bhagavat reading. Those who want to get realization in an easy way can also come. These 9 days are like 9 yagyas, sacrifices, and all the devotion, alms, havan, and mantras bear fruit because it is the nature of Devi to give favors and realization to those who seek it fervently. On the concluding day, in order to remove all badhas, Gayatri Sahasranama or Vishnu Sahasranama should be recited. Also, Durga Saptashati and Havan should be performed with kheer. The reader and other Brahmins should be honored with new clothes and money. When they are pleased, all the gods are also pleased. Sumangali ladies and little girls should be given food and dakshina. Those who can afford should give away gold, milch cows, elephants, horses and land. The fruit of this is prosperity. The book should be draped in silk cloth, placed on a golden stand and presented to the reader on Ashtami or Navami day. The man who performs this enjoys the bounties of this world and gets moksha when he dies. The reader can be any person as long as he has pure knowledge. He can be weak, old, poor or young. There are many kinds of gurus who do impart divine knowledge. The person who sits on Vyas Gaddi, seat of the reader, should not bow his head to anyone. The Purana is sacred. Those who do not give undivided attention while it is being read not only lose benefits, but they also get punished with sorrow and misfortune. Those who offer gifts, fruits, clothes, money, vessels and blankets to those who have knowledge of this Purana become worthy of Bhagavad Dham. Those who drape the Devi Bhagavat with silk cloth and present it to others enjoy great benefits and happiness. The person who listens to the 9 parts of Devi Bhagavat receives all good fortunes, especially the gift of moksha. When surrounded by enemies or epidemics like cholera or plague or disasters like drought and earthquake, one should listen with great devotion and dedication to Devi Bhagavat. Also, to overcome the effects of evil spirits, goblins, and malevolent beings, it is necessary to read Devi Bhagavat. Even those who are able to hear half a shlok or listen to half a chapter become eligible for a place at lotus feet. Devi Jagadamba herself only uttered half a slok, and from that has evolved this mighty book Srimad Devi Bhagavat. There is no dharma greater than Gayatri, and she recites in this book in the form of pure knowledge. A reading of this never fails to praise the goddess. It contains a description of her abode in the Mani Dweep, Nabhi Chakra, and also the explanation of Gita that the Devi herself gave to Himalaya. The great goddess who is worshipped by Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and Indra resides in Mani Dweep, Bhagavati Devi Jagadambika.